Okay, boys, let's talk about this because this is getting out of hand. Um, Welcome to OJG Sports. Today I saw another Giannis Antetokounmpo trade scenario to the San Antonio Spurs, and I think it came out like a day ago. I'm just seeing it today, making a video on it, and it's because I'm in the boat of Spurs fans who doesn't necessarily want to trade for Giannis. Again, if there's a deal available, and it's almost like a De'Aaron Fox situation where Giannis says to someone, whether it's his agent, whether it's his the front office, someone in the Bucks ownership, that he wants to leave and he wants to go to San Antonio. The Spurs have no leverage in making a trade. Or they could make a trade, but they have no leverage in the sense that Giannis is not forcing his way out. Like De'Aaron Fox was kind of forcing his way out of Sacramento, even though he was going to play. But it's the same scenario where the Kings had to think about, okay, they only have De'Aaron Fox for one more year under contract. Let's get something for him, even though it wasn't much. They got Zach LaVine from the Bulls. They got a couple first-round picks. They got not really many players besides Zach LaVine. The Bulls ended up getting up the Spurs players. But this is what it comes down to. The Spurs should never make a trade like the one I'm about to talk about, the one that I saw, because there is no way the Spurs should or would do this, in my opinion. I think we're in a position where we are totally fine. We defied the odds again and got the second overall pick. We can draft Dylan Harper, who one day may be better than Cooper Flag, who has hints of like James Harden and Cade Cunningham in him. That's what I see in him. And let's just get to this trade scenario because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. So the trade scenario suggests that the Spurs obviously get Giannis, and the Bucks in return get Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, the number 2 pick, which is basically Dylan Harper, the number 14 pick in this year's draft, and the remainder of Atlanta's picks. So not only are we giving up 5 first-round picks, we're giving up a very good first-round pick, which is going to be Dylan Harper. And then we're also giving up our better picks, which are the Atlanta picks. Because in this scenario, if we have Giannis, our pick should be less valuable than the Hawks picks. And then we're also giving up Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes. The players in this mock trade isn't even that bad. Like Harrison Barnes, obviously a salary filler. Keldon Johnson, he's been rumored to be traded. I thought he would be traded when we traded for De'Aaron Fox, but he ended up staying. And then Jeremy Sohan, that one would hurt just because I feel like I'm more high on Jeremy Sohan than a lot of people are, but that's just me. But it comes down to these picks because, again, we're giving up 5 first-round picks, and one of those picks is Dylan Harper. And by doing this, we basically deplete our roster of any future flexibility and depth. So if we made this trade with Harrison Barnes, who was our starting power forward last year, Jeremy Sohan, who was our backup power forward, sometimes starting forward, and then Keldon Johnson, who's like one of our bench guys. The lineup would look something like, I assume, De'Aaron Fox at point guard, Devin Vassell at shooting guard, Julian Champagnie at small forward, Giannis at power forward, and Wemby at center. And let me just start off by saying that is a scary starting 5. Yes, Julian Champagnie, the forward spot, could be a little better, but I feel like with this many mouths to feed on the offensive side for the starting 5, with De'Aaron Fox, who is a ball-dominant guard, Devin Vassell, who's a really good shooter and shot creator, with Giannis and Wemby, you really don't need your forward to be all that great. Julian Champagnie is really best when you just pass him the ball in the corner, and knock down a 3. So I feel like that would be fine. This would be a scary lineup for the next 2 years. And then here comes the problem, though. There's a couple of problems. The bench, on the current roster we have right now, people we have under contract for next year, it would consist of Blake Wesley, Stephon Castle, Malachi Branham. And I do believe in Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham. I don't think they'd be ready. And we're still missing a backup center and another forward on this team. It would be an almost Knicks situation where starting five is really good, but when they're out, you really have no one else to play serious minutes, especially if you got to playoff time. And that's the thing. There's so many things that is wrong about this. First of all, the package is too many picks, too many valuable picks, in my opinion. The second thing that's wrong about this is we don't have the depth. And if you pay attention to these playoffs, and especially in these conference finals right now, the two teams who have the most depth in the Thunder and Pacers, who sometimes use 10-man rotations, are winning. And not to say that's the most important thing, but it is very important, obviously. And by doing that, we would deplete our bench. Not only that, well, actually, before I move on, with this trade for Giannis, if we don't trade for Giannis, we will have one of the better benches, I think, next year, because we would have guys possibly like Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle both coming off the bench. Guys like possibly Thomas Sorber with the 14th pick. Keldon Johnson, who once averaged 20-plus points per game. Like, all those guys could be coming off the bench next year with Harrison Barnes. So we can very easily have a 10-man rotation next year. That's not including Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham. So not only do we not have a bench, by trading for Giannis in this scenario, we also are giving up on the fact that we would have one of the better benches in the league next year. Next problem with this, and this is the main problem with any Giannis trade, even if you can get him for Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, and 2 first-round picks. The problem is the salary. Giannis is set to make, I believe, about $55 million next year. Please let me know down below if I'm wrong there. I think he has 2 more years left on his deal. De'Aaron Fox is making $37 million next year, and then he'll be a free agent. He's probably going to get an extension. And Victor Wembanyama, after this season, is expecting a rookie extension, which I think will be, again, I don't know exactly, but I think around $40 million, something like that. So if we made this trade, you would assume we extend Fox, or maybe now we just stick it out with Castle maybe, but then you have 2 really not good shooters with Stephon Castle and Giannis. So assuming you have these 3 guys and you lock them up, that's Giannis making 55, De'Aaron Fox, even if he only makes about 40 million, Wemby making 40. That is $145 million of your cap in 3 players right there. And that's just, it's going to be really hard to build a championship team consistently around that and 3 guys who are making that much money. And if, God forbid, one of them got injured one year, and then it's like, dang, it's done. And I'm not saying this lineup is not ultra scary. The defense with Giannis and Wemby, and then also the offensive ability with De'Aaron Fox running the floor with Giannis, with De'Aaron Fox running pick and roll with Wemby, with Giannis staying in the paint, Wemby opening up for him, it would be scary. And I do think we would win a championship within 3 years with this big 3. But I don't think that this is the way for the Spurs. I think you stick the path of drafting a guy like Dylan Harper. You draft a big or a wing at 14, and then you figure out the rest. I don't want to hear Dylan Harper, we're drafting another point guard who can't shoot. He is the best player available after Kuber Flag. You take him at 2, and you figure out the rest of the roster. Spurs fans are so quick to make a trade saying like, oh, we need to make a jump. We need to make another trade. We made the trade for De'Aaron Fox before the deadline just this year, like this 2025 year. Yes, it was last season, but it was this year. He only played for us for a couple of games. Wemby and him, I think, played for a total of like 6 games. So give Wemby and Fox a chance to play a whole season together, hopefully, to play with all the rest of the guys who are young guys who are still getting better. Let Stephon Castle, the rookie of the year, develop and get better. Let Jeremy Sohan get better. Let Keldon Johnson still do his thing. Let Devin Vassell get into his new role of probably primarily being a spot-up shooter and defensive guy. Let Mitch Johnson, who was interim head coach all of last year, let him take full reins of this team and see what happens. Because we traded for De'Aaron Fox and we got him for a very good deal. We didn't really get to see what true potential we had with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. I think the Spurs were going to make the play-in, possibly. But obviously with Wemby and Fox going out, it didn't happen. So give this team time, Spurs fans. Let them grow organically. And again, unless there's a trade that is just like so obvious to make because of how lopsided it would be in the favor of the Spurs, don't make a trade for Giannis. Please. If you want to trade for a guy like Kevin Durant, which I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Kevin Durant, he's 38 years old. Well, one, he's not making as much money. And also, I think you get him for way less. I think you could get Kevin Durant. If you could get Kevin Durant for Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson to salary match, I think that would be close enough. If you get him for Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, either one of Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham, and then the 14th pick, and another future first, and possibly another future first, but make it a stinky one. If you can get Kevin Durant for that, hell yeah, get him for 2 years, bring him to this team, add another veteran to this team, see what you can do. Because you don't have to also worry about, first of all, you're not mortgaging your future, and also you don't have to worry about, oh, we have to extend Giannis and Fox and Wemby and be tied up to 3 guys for the rest of your life. With Durant, it's more like a 1-2 year deal. See what you can do. Try to get another ring if you're Kevin Durant and try to bring some leadership to this team. And then see what happens. Then he can go on his way. And then you have guys like Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle to take the reins. That's what I would say. Just be patient, Spurs fans. Like, we'll get there. I think next year, if all goes well and everyone's healthy, Fox and Wemby, we're going to be competing for play-in for sure. I think we're one of the play-in teams, a lock next year. I'm hoping like the 7 or 8 seed. Let Wemby get better, get stronger, and we'll be just fine. Let me know down below what you think. Let me know if you think the Spurs should make a trade like this. Would you, as a Spurs fan, want the Spurs to make this trade that I listed below, or I listed in this video? Let me know what you agree with, disagree with.